I've read like way too many books. I haven't counted yet. Hi guys, so for today's video, I'm planning to see how many books I can read for 24 hours. Not 24 hours straight, but like just like how many books can I read in 24 hours? And stop. Yeah. Okay, so I finally finished the book, and I stopped the time at 1 hour and 1 minute, so that makes up around 2 hours of reading already. Anyway, I'm going to summarize this book. So my thoughts and opinions, basically summarize my thoughts and opinions. I am really mad at the characters. Like, there's everything that happens in these books, all the bad things that happen in these books could have been so easily prevented if the character just, made better decisions that they thought out properly. Like, especially near the end of the book. At the end of the book, they make so many stupid decisions that ends up destroying everything that they were planning to do. This is basically the Queen of Hearts origin story, and it's about how she wanted to be a baker, but then she was like betrothed to the king, and it's talking about her struggles trying to, make her dream come true, and in the process she meets the king's court joker who she falls in love with. But this I think is a YA book, so it's a YA book, young adult, it literally says here. So there isn't like really much romance, I guess. That there is romance, but it's not like really swoony type of romance. Yeah. Anyway, since I finished that book, I think I'm going to start a bit on the One of Us is Lying series. Of course, I'll start with One of Us is Lying, the first book. I think I'll get through this book very fast because it's like way thinner than Heartless. I just finished the whole book. And for this whole book, I spent about, quite a long time. Look. Oh! It's been 4 hours in total, and this is all the times I read. And wow, it only took me another 2 hours to finish another half of this book. So you can assume it takes me like 4 hours to finish one book. And okay, I want to talk about One of Us is Lying. I really love it, actually. Like, I wouldn't say I fell in love with it to the point that I would put it as one of my favorite books, but it's definitely very high rated for me because I just like the concept of it, the way the book ends. Then I read One of Us is Next, and I forgot to film this part, which is why I'm doing a voiceover. At 7 hours 16 minutes, I finally finished reading One of Us is Next by Karen M. McManus, the second book to One of Us is Lying, and wow, I love this book. It's honestly, I preferred it over One of Us is Lying. I just felt like there was more intensity in the plot, and when I was reading it, it was just so addicting, and I always wanted to know more. I just binged this whole book just now. Like, I was probably only about 100 pages in, and then I binged it for 2 hours straight and finished the book. And I love it. I really like that, like, the characters have lives outside of whatever mystery they are trying to solve. And, like, kind of what happens in their life kind of relates to what happens in the mystery plot. So I really like the element of implementing the character's life into it, and I felt like I could relate more to the characters that way. And I really like Karen Ann McManus' writing style, because like it felt so natural to read. Honestly, I felt like I could connect more with the characters in this book than I could connect with the characters in One of Us is Lying. Mostly because they were just mostly like stereotypical high school teenagers, but this were more like felt more realistic high school teenagers. Book 4 will be A Shadow in the Ember. I am so hyped for this book because I've literally been waiting to finally get a copy of this book and finally read it. And I have it now and I can read it. So excited. So I finished A Shadow in the Ember at 14 hours, 20 minutes, and A Shadow in the Ember took me 7 hours to read. I just finished reading A Shadow in the Ember, and I have thoughts. I honestly saw some of the mistakes that people were talking about in all the TikToks and all the book reviews and stuff. Like, a few lines were like constantly being repeated, and like there's nothing new with the dynamics between the characters or like the jokes they make, which I can see is a problem because people will move on eventually. You don't always talk about the same things over and over again. So that's kind of unrealistic. And there were some complaints about like slang words, I guess. Like words that you wouldn't normally see in a fantasy book. And I can see that, especially when it comes to the dirty scenes. Yeah, those parts were very weird to read with modern slang words. The chapters were really, really, really long and pretty tiring to read. Also, this book is really, really thick and heavy, so it was really, really tiring to hold up all the time. I would always have to hold up like this, or like near the end, where like I have a lot of pages left, I had to hold it up like this at times to read, which looks very painful, and it is pretty painful. So the next book I'm going to read is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I'm worried that maybe I may not enjoy this as much. I think I'll still love it quite a lot. I feel like maybe I should have gotten Beach Read first because people say they prefer Beach Read. So that's that. Hi, so I'm sitting here editing and I just realized that I forgot to do a video where I finished People We Meet on Vacation. So I'm just gonna do it here now. This is my first Emily Henry book. I just recently got Beach Read, which you can see in the background there. That one, yeah. And this was a really, really big disappointment because I thought I would like the story, but I didn't. like I feel like Emily Henry, her books, the most interesting part about the books is mostly the plot, but of course the characters matter too. But this didn't really have a really good strong plot or really good strong characters, because I was so not into their romance at all. I was not convinced that Poppy and Alex were into each other. They were lacking a lot of chemistry, not only romantic chemistry, but friendship chemistry. I guess I didn't really mind the time jumps, but I felt that even in the past, they have no tension, no romantic tension between them, and then suddenly the bad thing happened in the past, which I'm pretty sure you all know is probably some sort of romantic thing happening. But that was so sudden, I just did not believe it at all. So the next book I'm reading is The X Talk, by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I honestly did not plan to read this book, but like I saw this at the library, so I was just like, okay, fine, I'll read it. The X Talk. I wasn't really too into the older woman, younger man trope, especially since they talked a lot about that trope in here, and I'm just not used to it. It's a trope that I honestly do not prefer. The emotions of the characters were really, really well described, well shown. Like I could sympathize so much with Shay, and at times I felt like I was gonna cry when she was talking about her father, because it's she's just able to convey so much emotion in her story writing, Rachel Lynn Solomon. Like at the beginning there was a lot of pretty depressing things that were happening to Shay, like for example some family issues or issues with friends or issues with like how happy she is in life. I could relate to that, even though I'm not even near the age of of Shay in here. There was one thing about this that was kind of disappointing, and it was the chemistry between Dominic and Shay. I felt that it was pretty lacking, because I'm not sure, it's just like honestly their relationship felt more like friendship than lovers at any point of time. Like there were some parts where Shay was just really simping for him in her head, and I just could not feel anything with it. I could not feel the yearning that they have for each other. Other than that, I like this book. The next two books, not two, I think probably I can do two, but for the next book I'm thinking of between these two Kristen Callahan books, Dear Enemy and Make It Sweet, because I saw Dear Enemy on TikTok a lot, and I love a good enemies to lovers, but it has the trope of the sister, the okay, I need to censor that out, the mean sister, and I don't like that trope, because I don't know, I just want to believe in a good sibling relationship. It's getting very, very tiring of seeing bad siblings in books. The guy dated the evil sister. It's on the back here, so that's not a spoiler. So I'm not too into the aspect that he has, done all the weird stuff with her sister. But Make It Sweet, I think I kind of like what the concept of this is, because it's kind of a it kind of sounds like The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata, which I liked decently. And I think I want to start reading this first, and then if I have time, I will read Dear Enemy. I just realized there's a connection between this and Dear Enemy apparently, because the main lead of Dear Enemy, the main male lead, Macon, sounds like bacon. Macon Saint is in this book and is the co-star apparently. So I hope I'm not missing too much by reading this first. Hi, editing me again because I yet again forgot to do things. I was supposed to tell you guys what my opinions of Make It Sweet are, and also to tell you guys that I started reading Dear Enemy afterwards. So I'm just gonna go through it now. So I finished Make It Sweet and I loved it. Lucien is one of my new book boyfriends. I felt their relationship was so healthy, which is quite different from all the other romance books I've read, because most of them don't have a super healthy relationship. But this one, they sort it out together, they talk things out, they listen to each other, and they respect their partners. So that's that. Okay. Then I read Dear Enemy. So the 24 hours is up because if I 10 hours plus 14 hours is 24 hours. 24 hours is up. I'm going to go through with you guys my opinions on Dear Enemy by Kristen Callahan. Wow, I think this is the first time I'm doing a video during the day because you can see the light coming in from here. So I finished Dear Enemy, and I didn't read it finished during the 24 hours time period. I only read it until like the start of chapter 27, but I ended up finishing it anyway after I ended the challenge. So my thoughts on this book, I really like it. I wouldn't say I love it as much as I liked Make It Sweet, but I love this quite a lot. The only thing for me that I didn't really like was Sam. I hate her so much. I found it quite unique how like there wasn't really a dominant and submissive character here. There kind of was, but it was like gender swapped, which was quite unique because a lot of books don't really have the female as dominant and the male as a submissive, but in this book it kind of was like that, but it didn't feel like it either because it felt like they were equal. And there were some scenes here that made my heart like really just explode with romance, with joy. Yeah, but there were some parts I wanted to cry because I ached for like them because they were childhood enemies, and I felt bad because they were really guilty about being each other's enemies, and they were wishing for things to have been different, and it just hurts my heart, man. They could have been each other's first loves. Thankfully they are, but like by first love, I mean like first relationship and everything, and they weren't because of their stupidity, and that sucked. So let's go through all the books I read during this 24 hours period. I just put all the books from my bookshelf and wow, that's basically half my bookshelf gone. Yeah, I just finished almost all my TBR on this. So let's show you the stacks. I read a lot, which is surprising because I've seen people do this challenge and they only read like 2 books. But I've read like way too many books. Yeah, I read all this. So let's go through each and every one of them, starting from the first one. I'm not going to go through a review of all these books because I have already done it. So the first book I read was Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I had already read half of this technically when I started the challenge, but it's fine, I'll just count it as one whole book. And I read One of Us is Lying and One of Us Snakes, the 2 books in the One of Us is Lying series. Yeah, I'm excited for One of Us is back. I wonder how it will end. Then I read the longest book and the thickest book of all of it, A Shadow in the Ember. This one took me 7 hours. 7 hours to finish this book. Wow, look how thick it is compared to like Heartless, who's like the next thickest one. Wow. Then I read People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I read The X Talk. Then I read Make It Sweet by Kristen Callahan. Last, I read Dear Enemy by Kristen Callahan. So let's count how many books. 8 books, right? I'm pretty sure I already said. Yeah, 8 books. I read 8 books. Wow. It's so weird because I've seen people do this challenge and they've only read 2 books, like I said. I can't imagine ever taking that long to read a book. Yeah. But wow, I read so many books during this time. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope that it's not too long of a video to edit and watch. So thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry it took so long for a video to come out, but I was just doing this challenge for a very long time. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe please.